Okay. I am Sasha Zeilig. I am a play coach and an event planner and an adventurist and a writer and a not very good musician, pretty bad rapper, but I love to do it. Um, and I love to play. Play is the way that we used to do it really like a long time ago because a lot of kids they didn't get to be kids when they were kids, but technically when we're kids we played, and play is one of the easiest, fastest ways to reprogram your neurological pathways, to try something on without having it be so serious or you have to get it right. You can just play with it, right? So I love play. um, I what I do is help people deprogram their minds from programming maybe they didn't even know was there, to deconstruct a stagnant life that they might feel stuck in and recreate a new life that is complete with their own authenticity and completely aligned with who they choose to be rather than who they got told to be. And I have spent some years doing that on myself. um, So the concept I want to talk about today is that they took the God out of Goddess 10,000 years ago, and it's still affecting you today. All of us, in fact. Um, I'm going to talk at you for a little bit. I want you to know that. But at the end, I'm not going to talk at you. I'm going to actually ask you to play with me and give you a tool for your life, for alignment. So if you want to come on camera at this point, I would love it. If you don't, that's okay. But I will ask you to come off mute later with me. Um, I also want to give you a tiny bit of a trigger warning that I'm going to give you some facts in this speech. And unfortunately, the facts are reality, but we don't like reality very much. And when we don't like reality very much, we try to leave somehow, some way. You might want to pick up your phone. You might want to just like pretend I'm not there, you know. Um, and I request that you try to stay with it. I request that you try to stay in the discomfort of those feelings, when I'm giving you the facts, because logically, right, if we're not really with reality, why bother changing it? We can just ignore it. Um, but I want you to know you've got a problem, whether you know it or not, because we all have that problem. It's a problem. Um, at least I deem it so. Uh, so bear with me as we go through this, if you will. Drink water, wiggle if you need to, breathe, and I'll remind you as well. Um, a little bit of context, I just want to say that I'm going to use the words men and women like it's a thing and like they're the only ones, but they're not the only ones. There's certainly a huge spectrum of masculine and feminine in the world, and there's certainly men that play more feminine roles and women that play more masculine roles. And there's, of course, a spectrum of people called transgender that fall somewhere in between. And in any of those words that I use, I want you to know in all of these facts that I'm going to share, that the LGBTQA plus community and any people of color are also impacted by this, but even worse. So that'll be fun. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly because it's not the point. The point is how to change it, right? But the facts we need to know ahead of time. So I'm going to move through them pretty quickly. And I'm going to use my notes. So just so I can get them right. All right. I need to look at you though. So I'm gonna be jumping between my notes and I have to minimize my Zoom to see you, or maximize my Zoom again to see you. But I just want to check on your faces, check in with you. Okay. All right, here's some facts. You're not gonna like them. Uh, I'm gonna request, actually, first thing that you do is, you don't have to close your eyes, but if you want to, you can. I want you to picture your three favorite women. I want you to imagine their faces. Okay. Do you know that according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics in 2024, women still only earn 83 cents to every dollar a man earns in the US? Why? Did you know that at least one of the three women that you are picturing has been sexually assaulted or raped? Why? The WHO estimates globally that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 7 men will experience rape or sexual violence in their lifetime. Why? Most people that experience it are between the ages of 11 and 17 when it first happens. And now I want you to add a fourth favorite woman in your mind's eye. At least one of those four women will experience non-sexual physical violence in her lifetime, and that physical violence will be made by her intimate partner. According to the WHO, globally, as many as 38% of all females murdered are committed by their intimate partners. And did you know that the leading cause of death for pregnant or recently pregnant people in America is homicide by a current or former partner? The CDC study, this is from a CDC study that happened over the past 20 years, and what they saw was that the number jumped significantly during COVID quarantine. Obviously, our easy access to guns in this country contributes to femicide. Now, all of these statistics are worsened for people of color, LGBTQ people, and in fact, it's worst for Native Americans who are at even higher risk. Why? Okay, take a breath. I'm gonna say it another way. According to the United States Federal Office of Victims of Crime report, every minute in America, there are 1.3 rapes of adult women. Like by the time I've been talking, how many women have been raped? This means that 78 women are raped each hour and 1,871 women are raped each day. But this is the scariest statistic of all, in my opinion. All of those numbers are based on estimates because only about 34% of sexual assaults are reported to police, leaving an estimated 63% plus unreported. Reporting for children is only 10 to 12%. This is all according to the National National Sexual Violence Research Center. Why? Well, a recent NBC News investigation with data from 8 major American cities shows that less than 4% of sex crimes result in convictions. So the perpetrators are never convicted. They're let off the hook. Why bother reporting? Now, I know that this could be bringing up actual memories for you. I'm sorry if you feel triggered. I'm sorry that it happened to you. It happened to me. So just take a second, feel into your body. I'm going to also maximize my Zoom screen and just check in on you with my eyes. Breathe for a second. Let's just 1, 2, 3. Again. Like I wrote this speech, you guys, I know these facts and I'm still seething with heartbeat and sweat. I mean, it's just a thing every time. It's uncomfortable to be with that kind of reality. I want you to know though, you're here with us. You're in your room. I don't think there's anyone else around you probably. So at least in this moment, you're okay. All right. I want you to know it doesn't have to be this way. You and I have the power to shift this, but I think we must know how we got there to know how to change it. So all these facts, this is the reality. Why is it still happening today? My theory, because monotheism took the goddess out of God. So a long, long time ago, go with me on the story here. Hi, Rebecca. I just saw you there. Monotheism came much later, but if you imagine 10,000 years ago, it was just after the last ice age, and humans were coming out of these little caves that they'd been huddling in for centuries. And then there was a bit of a warming, big ice age, little warming, big ice age again, and then 10,000 years ago. And that's when humanity had the breakthrough in agriculture. So now, instead of hunter and gatherers, we have farmers, and there are crops, and there are homes, and there are families to protect in those places. So we create territory, right? We have our territory for our tribe. And with that comes othering. Now, those tribe members are going to get our stuff. And now there's a separation. And the idea of power and strength become more valuable in this moment than life itself. I have to protect what's mine, so I'm willing to kill for it. Now, for a while, in this phase, there was probably some semblance of balance between the sexes. So females, as these miraculous portals of life and nutrient givers, were probably honored as a gender that was completely in sync with Mother Nature herself, right? Bleeding with the new moon every month. Like that was the rhythm of the calendar before Gregorian time. With reverence, women were often the shamans or the spiritual heads of their tribes. And men used their strength to protect that sacred life force. But at some point, competition overruled collaboration. And the protectors got greedy, using their strength to overpower the feminine, becoming kings, naming their brethren kings, and usurping the spiritual head of the tribe, that connection. So this was solidified about 4,000 years ago or so with the invention of the Abrahamic religions, Judaism being the first, and the introduction of the concept one God. Other cultural religions early on adopted this, as such as the Zarathusтрans. Islamists adopted it as well. And of course, Catholicism upped the ante by naming the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, all masculine, if I'd need to say it. And by either converting or murdering everyone in their path, with the Crusades during the Roman Empire, which was more than 700 years before Jesus was said to walk the earth, they managed to erase most polytheistic and pagan traditions. Pagan, just so you know, means people of the land. It's a people that is in sync with the rhythm of nature and the rhythm of the seasons. They're honoring nature in their belief system. And so, side note, polytheism, multiple gods, multifaceted gods, give us a different kind of example. Like if you just take Greek mythology, right? Aphrodite, for example, she's known very well as the lover goddess, but she was also a wife. She was also a mother. She also got involved in wars. If she didn't like the injustice of the war, she would get involved. So this goddess could do multiple things. And then you have Hera, you have Hestia. You have so many different goddesses represented. You also have multiple gods in that Greek pantheon. But there were pantheons like that, such as Hinduism that we know today. But there are pantheons, Norse mythology, Celtic mythology. But in all of those, they were tribal religions that gave people access to an imperfect god or goddess. And in that imperfection, as a human, we know we're not perfect. We know we're fallible. I think we could relate better. We could relate to these gods, and somehow we could understand that the God was in us and connected. But when the Christian faith took that goddess out of God, now you had this perfect God, except for the fact that he was jealous, vengeful, and wrathful. But he always knew best, right? And we took that God as Father, as maybe Son who came to earth for a minute, but also this Holy Ghost. It's all outside of us. And in a lot of ways, don't you, when you imagine God, like Santa Claus in the sky a little bit? Okay. So the point is, what you get with that kind of God is this jealous, vengeful, wrathful God that always knows best. Or you get a very influential, yet very martyred little boy. Now, the goddess also got divided and reduced in that. The Mary characters model what it now means to be a woman and serve a societal example for all women's behavior, regardless of your religion. I will tell you that. It's in our society, in our cultures. So you can either be the pious, nurturing, virginal mother who loves her son unconditionally, or you can be a despicable whore who's saved by a man. So it's okay to be wild, like a wild sex kitten when you're young, right? But once you're married, the pious virgin is required. And people wonder why sex dies in marriage sometimes, eh? But I want to know, I'm going to look at you all again. Can you see how these archetypes have infiltrated your life, your people that you know, yourself, your relationships? Okay, keep looking. So I'm going to say if God is is masculine, this is how it continues to show up now. Okay, so if God is masculine, then inherently and unspokenly, only men can rule. And if only men can rule, then everyone else is beneath him or for him. Thus, objectification becomes easy. There is direct damage to the respect for the miracle of life and life bringers. Women and the earth become commodified, raped and pillaged as tools and spoils for war, things to be used. So this next thing I'm going to share with you is really the distinction. It's the purple, my foundation, one of my foundational concepts, distinctions in my sex ed curriculum for adults and people. It's called Purple Circle, the sex ed curriculum. But this distinction, I call it, it's the hamster wheel of chaste versus chaste. So you got a hamster wheel and we're stuck in it, running, right? But on one hand, you got chaste, chaste, like legs closed, like chaste. And that's women. We're supposed to be chaste. And then the men, they got to chase us, right? So we're chased by them, CHASED. And this creates quite a cycle. Now, the issue is that those of us being chased, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're man or woman, we can take it out of that context, but if you're being pursued, are you really allowed to be like, oh yeah, right, I totally want that, especially as a female? No, because if you do that, then you're immediately called or labeled a slut. And that's the one extreme. Okay. And then if you don't do that, no. I could never. Then you get labeled the prude, and that's the other end of the spectrum. And nobody really wants to be a slut or a prude. So you end up somewhere in the middle doing this thing called tease. No, I really do want it. No, yeah, I do want it. I do, really. And this person that's then chasing that person, very confusing. Like how do you know when you're getting this teasy, unclear, gray area answer, do they want you or not? And then no wonder there's a little bit of slip ups, there's a little bit of messy room. And I do believe that we have all contributed to this culture called rape culture. So I think that for me is like really how it showed up for me and in me. In fact, I was labeled a slut after my sexual assault. And in some semblance of a way, I took on being her because it gave me some power. I was able to say yes or no. I was already labeled that, so why not? And so getting to experience actually my true yes and my true no more often because I was allowed to say yes when I wanted to because I was already labeled that thing. But sometimes it took me the other way where I felt like I wasn't allowed to say no now because now I'm valued as that sexual being, as that tool for use. So the reason that I continue to do this sex ed curriculum is because I want us out of that dynamic. And I do believe it will take everyone. So putting the goddess back in God for yourself, that you as woman or as divine feminine, if you're a masculine body, fine, totally fine. You also now don't get allowed your feminine side because it's so shunned and pushed asunder, right? So there's something about honoring the divine feminine as a goddess equal to God that allows all human beings the full spectrum of themselves. And that's what I want for you. That's what I want for me. And that's what I want for the world. The full spectrum of you. You're missing part of yourself, whether it's a masculine side or a feminine side. You're missing part of yourself. It's here for you. And the way to find your authentic yes and your authentic no is by listening to this amazing home that we were welcomed into earlier today. This is the guidance. This is, as Merle said, your hairs have the endings. I mean, literally, my hairs are standing up on end as I say this right now. This is your litmus test, your body, your nature, your inherent divinity, which lives here. Okay, so I want to teach you the tool of muscle testing, your yes and your no. Will you play with me? Okay, I just want to check on you. Does anybody need to say anything? Are you okay after all those facts and everything I just said? It was a lot. Okay. All right, cool. So we need to stand up for this. I'm going to move my seat back here. It's best if you can stand. You're going to need your whole body for this. You can do it in other ways once you're better, but this is the best way to start and best way to learn. Okay. So you want to just have a little bit of space behind you and in front of you. You want your knees loose, not locked, but they don't necessarily have to be bent, but just easy. And just tip your body weight a little bit forward onto your toes, and then a little bit forward onto or back onto your heels, a little forward onto your toes, and a little back on your heels, and then find your center. Shake it out. Okay, good. So you're going to say this out loud. It's easiest if you close your eyes. You're going to probably get your most clear answer. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what happens, but I'm just going to say, body, give me a yes. And then I'm going to let my body do what it wants. And generally speaking, when we have a yes, we go toward the thing we want. So we usually lean forward. And then I'm going to say, body, give me a no. And generally, I'm going to go back. So I'm going to give you time to do it. Go ahead, body, give me a yes. Good. Good. And body, give me a no. Good. Okay. So if you don't believe it yet, we're going to try something else. Say your own name. You're going to say, like, I'm going to say, my name is Sasha. And I'm going to likely go forward toward that. Okay. My name is Sasha. You're going to say your own name. Go ahead. Good. Now I want you to say your name is Sasha. So you're going to, like, I'm going to say, my name is Scott. Okay. My name is Scott. My name is certainly not Scott. So I moved away from it. But you say now, my name is Sasha, and see what your body does. Good. Okay, good. I want you to think of your favorite food in the whole wide world. I want Indian food. Yes, I always want Indian food. Say your favorite food out loud. I want that. Mm-hmm. Now, say you're like, think of something you absolutely don't hate, like I really hate lima beans. Not my favorite thing. I want lima beans. No, I do not want lima beans. Okay, good. All right, now I want you to think of a decision that you have been trying to make. It could be something as small as what am I cooking for dinner? Or it could be something as huge as, do I spend $5,000 to go to Greece with Sasha in September? Or whatever it might be. But if you have a decision in this moment that you've been too heady over, you keep thinking about, quit it and just ask. Now you need to ask the yes or no question, or you can say it as a statement like, okay, I'm gonna, good Lord, this is so vulnerable. I want to get divorced. No, it's interesting. So that's true, actually. I am in the process of getting divorced. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be with my husband. Like, we can try that, right? Do I want to be with my husband? No. So I don't really want to be with him, and I don't want to get divorced. And actually, that is very much my truth about that thing. Uh, sometimes life dictates, like we will get divorced at some point here, probably in the near future. It's pretty much inevitable whether I want to or not, but that because it involves someone else. Okay, did you get clarity on your question? Did you ask it? Do you need more time? Okay, I'll give you a second longer. Okay, good. All right, you can come sit back down with me for a second. Okay, I just want you to notice a couple of things about that. It took a minute. You took a pause. You broke out from your normal habitual routine to ask your body questions, right? So when you're in, I'm going to bring it back to the sex ed and to the relationship thing here, but when you're in a situation with another human, especially when it comes to consent, there is a moment of pause that needs to occur. So if you're asking the question, hey, do you want to jump in bed with me and have a great time tonight? You might want to give the other human a moment to know for sure whether or not they want to or not. And then if that person says yes, woohoo, go jump into bed. But if they say no, then I want to teach you a phrase to encourage people saying no in the world. so that you can be a levolutionist alongside me and help change the world with me. So if somebody says no to you about anything, do you want to come to dinner tonight? Can you go to that thing? Whatever. And they say no, then you can say back to them, thank you for taking care of yourself. Okay, so will you all come off mute for a second, please? Thank you. Okay, it'll be loud and wonderful and obnoxious for a second. So I'm just going to ask you some ridiculous questions, okay? Do you want to get your hair cut?
No.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, thank you for taking care of yourself, Nose. And Scott, interesting. I'd love to cut your hair. I'm going to give you a faux hawk. Okay, it's my hobby, cutting hair. Do you want to embrace your full spectrum self?
Yes.
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 And does it feel scary?
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
Thank you for being honest. And Lucius, what a badass. I heard your voice. Good. Okay, good. Does one of you want to play with me as a volunteer? Marie, will you just play with me for 1 second? And then I'm going to complete. I just want you to ask me any question. I'm going to say no. And I want you all to say thank you for taking care of yourself to me, just so you can practice it in your mouth. Is that okay? Okay.
Can I move into your house?
No, brother, no. No.
Okay.
Thank you for taking care of
Thank you.
yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for taking care of yourself.
Oh, you guys, that was medicine for me. Thank you. Thanks for the great question, Marie, because I am dealing with that. I let someone live in my house that I'm now regretting. And I've learned my lesson. I'll never do that again. But when you said that to me, thank you for taking care of yourself. Thank you for, like, you gave me permission to take care of myself. And especially as a woman, we get the programming that that's not okay ever. We always get the programming that it is others first, take care of others first. So when you give that gift to a woman, even if she's as badass and strong as me, I still got that programming and it's still medicine for me. And I'm not saying that men don't get that. Men also get family programming that they need to be the mediator or play it safe or be the good boy. I mean, we all get it. So give that gift out there in the world and give yourself the gift in every moment of every choice to listen to your body and bring that God and that divinity and that reverence for self back into you and back into others. Okay, thank you for listening to me yap about this huge, beautiful subject I've been studying for like 8 years, wrapping it up into some 30-minute talk. Thanks, Marie, for this opportunity.